All right. So there's a lot of water cooler talk, Chris. And this is nice filming together. This is great. We don't get to do that much, especially now that we have this channel. Good to have you here. But there's been some water cooler talk going on. And I'm starting to get frustrated because I feel like people aren't giving Bryce Young the love that he deserves. Everybody wants to put the crown on Anthony Richardson. And if they don't give it to Richardson, it's still not even Bryce Young that's next. A lot of people are like, I think Stroud's the second best quarterback. But Bryce Young was the first quarterback taken for a reason. All right. The Carolina Panthers took him first. They gave up a lot to get him. And I think they did a good job and they got the quarterback they should have. I think he's the best quarterback in this class, but he's not getting the love. Chris, what are your thoughts on Bryce Young? Do you think he should be receiving a little more love for what and who he is?
Yeah, I think we do this in sports and media where it's like, okay, you're the best. You're on the top. You were number one pick. How can I prove that you are not? Like, how can I? It's like, I can't raise you up anymore. You've done everything you were supposed to do in college. You've done everything you're supposed to do. You're number one overall pick. How can I come up with something? You're short. You're this. You're that. And we just start taking shots at, instead of just leaving somebody like, they're good, they're going to be good, can't wait to watch them. Instead, it's like, you know what, Anthony Richardson. And then you see him just soar up out of nowhere. It's like, man, he's big.
Horrible college football quarterback, by the way.
Oh my gosh. And exactly. But we all fall into that where you're like, man, look at this guy. He is fast. He is 6'5", 260 or whatever he is, and you just start building him up and you just take Bryce Young out of it and you're just not even talking about him. So I'm with you. This is a no-brainer. Book it, take it to the bank guy that should have went number one, that we just start to dismiss as we have talked about everybody else. So yeah, this is worth talking about. And I know you're going to pull some things up to really show, like, yeah, dude,
I'm going to pull some things up to show it, but more than anything, it's just going to be me reading you some stats but also just like talking about something. And I have one question. I just have one question. If Bryce Young was 6'4", 220, is he not are we not saying this is a generational talent? This only comes around every 5 to 10 years.
100%. It would be like, are you kidding me? Because the guy's accurate, strong arm, everything you want. And so, yeah, he lacks the size, and everybody can go for it and just pick him apart there.
And you just pick him apart, and everybody does go for it. So he's 6 foot, 194, right? And we're just like, he's so slender. Like, he's so slender. Okay, has he been hurt a lot in college? Right. Did I miss something?
Right.
He played in the SEC, right? So I'm going to throw you two different things. I'm going to throw you the comp of the guy that's massive and also produced in college. Then I'm going to talk about a guy who went in the 2020 draft. All right, just a couple of years ago, that's starting his third year, maybe his 2021 draft, that is so much bigger, right? That we're all like, oh, he's the generational talent. And by the way, he is going to be a good player. It was the 2021 draft. But I want you to look at a couple things. All right, first we'll start with that guy, Trevor Lawrence. Did any of us have a question about him coming out of Clemson?
No.
Played 3 years, came into the league. He was the number one pick. He was 6'6", so he's got the height, but he's only 213 pounds. Tell me how he's not more slender at 6'6", 213 than Bryce Young at 6 foot 194.
So Bryce Young's bigger than I thought. When you say the 194, I
mean, that's what he came in. He probably just ate a lot of double cheeseburgers, but still, whatever.
But still, yeah, it's so weird because, we see this a lot in the NBA where you just, that guy's going to get injured. He's injured. It's like, well, has he been to this point? Like, I can only go on what you've done so far. I mean, we can project that. That's one of the things you can't hardly project. So exactly. That's a great point. I mean, slender is Trevor Lawrence, and we don't worry about him at all.
Slenderman. We don't worry about him at all. And he hasn't been injured. No. Right? Like, he hasn't been injured. So I'm going to give you Trevor Lawrence's best year, his stats. You ready for it? It was his sophomore year. Remember that Clemson team? They beat Alabama. Like, he was unreal. He threw for 3,600 yards, 36-65. He had 36 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Would we say this is a good year in college football?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Right? You want to know what Bryce Young did his sophomore year? He went for 4,800 yards and
Jeez.
47 touchdowns with only 7 picks. The only person, this is number one, all of those categories, whether it's attempts, whether it's yards, whether it's yards per attempt, whether it's touchdowns, they're all number one in Alabama history. And we've had a couple of good quarterbacks come out of Bama recently, haven't we?
That's right. Oh my gosh. And you know what? It is weird. During his time is when Alabama really was like, this is how we're going to kind of do this. And we're going to throw this baby and we're going to be wide open and we're going deep and we're seam routes. And it's just like, this guy could do it. And that's what I know it's crazy that he all of a sudden is like, system quarterback or whatever you want to say. It's like, dude, no, this guy can throw it.
He can sling it. He is an improviser. He's got a lot of the tools. Like when you talk about what he does, when you talk about accuracy, people compare him to the most accurate quarterbacks. When you talk about improvisation, they compare him to the best improvisers as quarterbacks go.
Yes.
But yet, nope, he's not going to last because he's slender. Okay. Well, now he's in the NFL. He's got NFL weight and nutrition and all that kind of stuff going on. So maybe he has a little more time to add some meat on his bones, if that is what you're so worried about. Mm-hmm. But the other guy that I was thinking about comparing him to, and I will say it just was flat out a better season, and it was probably the best season by a quarterback in college football history. It was Joe Burrow in 2019. But he was a 5th-year senior.
Yes.
Like he wasn't a sophomore. This was his 5th-year senior status. And Joe Burrow himself is a bigger boy. He came out at 6'4", 220. Right.
Wow.
And he went for 5,600 yards and 60 touchdowns. Right. 60. So but you look at these 3 guys, and I guess what I'm saying is we look at Trevor Lawrence as a you can't fail, surefire NFL great quarterback. We said the same thing about Joe Burrow. Why are we not saying it about Bryce Young?
Yeah. And that's what, as we start looking around the league and you start looking at different teams that are, all right, where you at? Where you on the rise? And that's why you and I keep kind of getting excited about the Carolina Panthers, because it's like, man, you signed Adam Thielen. You got DJ Chark from the Lions. You've got a running game. You got a good offensive line. You've got the coach. Defense is going to be improved. And, oh, by the way, and the 2 things that are just you got to get, and then the rest you can figure out is your coach and your quarterback. And so now it's like, do they not have that? Like, am I missing something? And so you've got the quarterback. And so that's why if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you're like, yeah, we got it. We got it. And we're on the right path. And you and I have seen it now. We're being Detroit Lions fans. Get me on the right path. And man, this guy, are you kidding me? Now you've got 10 years at least that you're going to be good. How could you not be?
How could you not be? Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm here to say it. Like, I'm just here to say it. And here's the other thing. I get the whole he's small, he's going to get hurt. Okay. But he hasn't gotten hurt.
That's right.
Like, he hasn't been injury prone. And by the way, Joe Burrow came out and he was big, so he's not going to get hurt. And then didn't he tear his ACL?
Yeah,
like
that's right.
You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, Panthers fans, get excited. You have your generational quarterback. Yes, you can be worried that he's too small, but until we actually see him get hurt regularly, don't worry about it. Just be happy that you have, by the eye test, by accuracy standards, and by flat out the ability to win, you have the best quarterback in the draft. You are on your way to many good years ahead because you have a great quarterback.
100%. Yep. 100% agree with that. And I think last thing I would say is that the Panthers, one last thing. The Panthers are a team. I just mentioned it. You got the quarterback and you got the coach. And I made a video about this and you have a coach because Frank Wright goes to Indianapolis. Remember, he has Andrew Luck. Things are great. And then he goes through just a carousel of quarterbacks at the end of their careers with a good name. So you feel good, but they're just not there anymore. But yet they stayed competitive, stayed good. So why do you think they went right up and said, we're not screwing around and we're going to go get our guy number 1 overall. And this is who they take. So it's a no brainer. This guy's good.
Well said. Good ending. Leave the comments below. We love reading them. Subscribe to the channel and we will see you on the next one.
See you.